96 to 2003.
That's the third strike. How much time did they issue with? 25 to life.
And they don't give you no good time, good behavior.
You 85% of whatever they gave.
I feel like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, pick the beats on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day I wake up like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, pick the beats on the line.
Yay, what's happening? What's going on, Fomby? What is it?
What's going on? Squares everywhere. Lounge, baby. Dealing with
Okay, all right. Well, you know what time it is. We back on the screen. We back on the line. Brought to you by yours truly, Hub City 1 Junior, with my co-host JJ Fomby. We got some information that we gonna be talking about and going over and explaining to people who know and don't know about what's going on in the system, about getting released and commuted and pardoned and all that good stuff that we need to address, because some people think that this may be the first time that this has happened, and that is not true. So without further ado, we're gonna turn it over to Fomby and let him know what we got going on and let you guys know what we got going on.
All right, squares everywhere. For all the viewers and the listeners is on Pandora, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeart, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Audible. Just for all the listeners that are coming to you from those streaming sites. Repeat again, for all the listeners on Pandora, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Audio. So
and these are all the sites and streaming platforms that you can find us on the Line Podcast. We are now on all these platforms that you can listen to us come to you anytime, anywhere, any place you want to.
Exactly, that's the deal. What today we're gonna talk about Cheeto Man got out of office. Cheeto Man got out of office.
Yes, but before he left,
yeah, he busted a little move, and he pardoned some individuals. But that's something that presidents can do and has done in the past. So this ain't the first time this has happened. Probably the first time. No, it's not. It's probably the first time. Some people might think it was the first time, but it's not the first time. Reason I don't want to say too much and say the wrong thing. Obama pardoned some folks and also commuted some people's sentences in both of his terms. So Obama commuted quite a few people's sentences. Not that many, but enough of them in this term. But there was also other presidents that done the same thing. Woodrow Wilson did it. They said that Obama did more than anybody did. But if you go back in the history of the United States presidency, you know that Woodrow Wilson, he did over 1,000 pardons and commuted.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. So that's what
that might be shit. In some places, that might be a whole damn yard. Man, why you sitting up there playing? That might, in some places, that might be a whole yard. Just think, 1,000 people. That's a lot of folks, man. Yeah.
So, Trump. I'm tripping off the ones he pardoned, right? One of the persons that he pardoned was one of his aides, and he looked out for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, got him out the clinker and got him back out. That was Stephen K. Bannon, Bannon, B-A-N-N-O-N. He got him on fraud charges. But one really tripped me out was this one. was Judy. Judy, well, she clipped him in the head for over 200 or $2 billion in fraud, Medicare fraud.
Mm-hmm.
It was the largest in fraud scam in U.S. history.
Yeah,
She got.
she went for the bag for real.
Yeah. She did her shit on that one. So I'm kind of looking at, she had got a 35-year sentence, and she did 8 years on it. So yeah, I was like, damn, boy, that's a lot of, a lot of bread. She's from Florida, out of South Florida. But in the course of Trump's office, he also pardoned folks, other people as well. He didn't do them all on the day before he left. There's other people he pardoned and commuted sentences along the line. So, without giving further ado, there's a difference from pardons and commuted sentences and clemency. Governors can do a reprieve. And also, so we got to tell you what a pardon is when the president believes he can change the whole sentence and just read somebody out. It don't go off their record, but they can let them out. You can pardon and let them out. Just, hey, look, President pardon, you can bounce. You just get up out of here and get on. And it won't go off your record. You can live like a normal citizen. Now, when you got a commuted sentence, is when you say the sentence is a death penalty, and you can change it from a death penalty to a life in prison or life without prison. That's commuting sentence. Dropping it down to a lesser charge, or dropping the amount of time down of the sentence, and then it'll bounce out like that. So if that make any sense. And same thing with the clemency. You can claim a clemency. You can that's for all federal crimes. You can the president can give clemency to people, but you can't give it to them for one thing, and that's for impeachment. So there's a difference from pardons, commuting sentences, and clemency. So there's different things, and governors had a right to have a reprieve or a form of a pardon. Basically, they use it for stopping and holding up a death penalty. So they don't want somebody on death row in a different state. The governor can come in and say, hold up. I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna pass him on this. I ain't gonna commit a sentence. I'm just gonna stop him from getting killed today. Give him a chance to get his legal shit back in order. So yeah, that's the difference right there. And a lot of the pardons are for people that had federal cases. I don't know, none of them had state. And I do my research and check it out. I think it's only for federal crimes that they could do that for. Don't hold me to it, but if I'm correct, I think that's the case and matter.
And so, also, too, I do believe it's what kind of case you have, because you ain't finna get that if you in there for rape, pedophilia and all that stuff. It's just, and I'm not too sure if it depends on your length of sentence. You can't be in jail, 2 years and then, get out. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but, I'm gonna go ahead and swing on that one. I think it depends on what kind of case you have, because when I was in there, I think it's only one guy that I know back in the 90s who got a pardon, but he had a big drug case. And then people was very happy for that dude, because he was sitting down for a long time, man.
Oh yeah, I got you. So from my understanding, that you had to be. I thought I wrote down a note, but I didn't. That you had to be doing your time, doing your time, and they had to, you had to be locked up. If I'm correct, I have to look like, or maybe on bail. I really don't. I only know one person that ever got the sentence commuted. That's only one person I know. and that person's gonna be on the show today.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not, and so I understand. You sitting in jail, and all of a sudden they come out, hey, this is rap. You out of here. I've been in that situation where, you know, formerly I'm a former lifer in the state of California. I was doing a life sentence for some bull, but and one day they came to me and told me it was time to bounce. I was like, yeah, okay, I got you. I'm with the bouncing. So that's why I say, that's why we having this show today. One of the reasons we have the show today is a good friend of mine, a childhood friend, a good buddy of mine. I wanted to bring him on the show today and let him tell this story about how he got his sentence got commuted by Obama. He was one of the 330 individuals who got their sentence pardoned, I think, in 2017. We'll bring him on the show right now. Control. What's going on, Jeff? How you doing today?
What it do? What it do? What's good? What's good, Junior?
Hey, man, what's going on? Glad to
All
have
right,
you.
all
Thanks
right.
for taking the time out to hang out with us, man. Appreciate that.
No doubt.
So today we're talking about pardons and clemency and commuting sentences. So we'd like for you to tell your story about what took place in your life in 2017 from President Obama.
So start from the beginning, getting gaffed up and all of that too.
I mean, how you want to tell it? It's on you, baby. The light is on you.
All right, shit. Jeff, Dirty, whatever. A lot of people know me by a lot of different names from the east side of Long Beach. Got caught up in 2005 after getting released from state prison. I did time in Corcoran and Chino. Got released from Chino, and then ended up catching a federal case. Walked into a federal investigation, and ended up getting 22 years. Yeah, feds was working the neighborhoods as they do. And just to shed a little light on that too. So what would happen is developers come to a city, see what city they need to develop. Say, for instance, right now, I think prime real estate would be Compton, California. Especially if we black, we should be looking into that. But developers would come through there, see that this city needs to be developed. They go to the city council, meet with the police department, bring in the feds. They go get everybody who moving and controlling the neighborhoods up out of the way so that they can develop these communities. And that's what they did in Long Beach in 2005. Ended up going away for 22 years. As JJ was just alluding to, President Obama pardoned me on his last day of his administration in 2017. And shit, here I am right now.
Okay.
Wow.
So, Junior?
Yes.
I want to ask you a few questions, man.
Me being part of the federal system, I know how that can go all the way from A to Z. Yeah. Now, my question to you is, you sitting in there, you doing your time, you on the yard, you programming. Did you reach out? Did you hear about, hey, maybe this is something I can do? Because knowing that presidents at the end of their term, this is something that they do. Did you put your bid in, or you was just doing what you do, programming on the yard, and the information came to you?
All right, so like when you hit the fair, sort of like what JJ was just talking about, when you're a state raised, state prison guy, you don't know nothing about how the feds work. So when you get over there, and you see it's a whole different world, even though it might look like the same kind of machine, this is a whole different beast. And how they run it, is draconian, bro. They will hit you over the head and they will sit you down for a long fucking time. You have a lot to think about. And if you paying attention, you conscious and aware, you go run into a few guys who got some information and passing along. In 2008, when Obama got elected, I think his goal was fucking like um, um, Medicare for all, medical insurance for all. So they pressed that hard in the Congress and the Senate. That's when they had both House and the Senate. They got it passed, and he really didn't look at this shit that we have been suffering from in our community in his first term. They have been handing up these heavy-handed ass sentences and shit from everything from guns. We could talk about how you get caught up for a gun in the feds, but they handed out these heavy-handed sentences and shit, and we wasn't getting no relief. So in his second term, he came through with something called the Clemency Project, and that addressed some things because he no longer had the House or the Senate, so it was virtually impossible for some kind of criminal justice reform to get passed. You could never garner all the support you needed, and it just never got passed. And he ended up coming up with some lawyers, and they came up with something called the Clemency Project. You had to meet certain criteria. You couldn't have no violence while you've been in prison and all of these other things and shit, and you applied for it, and if you met the criteria, they gave it to you. They assigned you a lawyer. The lawyer walked you through everything, submitted all of your paperwork, reached out to people who they needed to reach out to, and that's how it happened. For the specific case, for when Obama did it in the mass amount that he did it in.
Now, when you was going through the process, okay, you already knew, okay, I'm programming, and you knew yourself, hey, I meet the criteria, so let me go on and step up to bat and take a swing at this. So filing all your paperwork, and this is where me and Fomby always go back to, no matter if you in the state or feds, you have to take a trip to that law library and see if you got action. Because some things do come through where you're like, you know what, hey, they changed the crack law, they changed this. Maybe I got a shot at either giving some time back or just getting my case thrown out and I go home. But for you, you're submitting all your paperwork, okay, at this point, I qualify. What was going through your mind while you filing all this paperwork? And then the lawyer came to you and was like, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm pushing this because nothing happens overnight. You figure I'm already locked up. I got time. So is it a waiting game or is it moving pretty fast?
So in the prison world, in how time moves in the prison, it moved relatively fast. I would say before his second term ended, I was out. So that's relatively fast. Well, I had received my clemency, so that was relatively fast. I didn't submit until I left Victorville, the 2 yard in 2014. That's my state photo. That's my first bid. You see the Jerry curl. If I had a Jerry curl in 2014, somebody should have did something to me. No doubt. That's my first bid. That's 91, 93. My baby girl, my niece. That's in Mule Creek. But I couldn't even find my federal photos. But when I got there, when I left there in 2012, I got down to Safford, Arizona. That's when I filed.
That Safford. Now look, it's funny you say that. That's where I was. I was in Safford, Arizona for a minute. I did FCI Phoenix. Okay. And then wait till your points come down. Yeah. Then I went to Safford, Arizona, and Safford, Arizona was like, it was a culture shock because it was just weird, man. It was just Safford, Arizona was just where you got the dorms and you got the bunks and you got movement. It was a lot better than Phoenix. I could say that, but Safford is low. So yeah, that's where I got released from, Safford, Arizona. Yep. I know exactly where you was.
So it's definitely a shift in mentality going from like a medium to a low. I mean, you can sleep a little bit better.
Yeah.
you
You
know, and
you can
all.
let the air out your chest. You know
You
what
can
I'm
let the air
saying?
out your chest. You might be able to walk from the shower to your bunk in your shower shoes and shit. You know,
And
so
and and, and also too, in your dorms, you're gonna have a mixture of everybody. You're gonna have brothers, others, and a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you know, okay, this is totally different when you got a mixture of people in your cubicles.
yeah, absolutely. And not to digress, but I think the biggest culture shock at Sanford was the Chomo population. They really allowed them to be on their yard, and this is the things with Lowe's and the federal system. You gonna have that kind of like environment where it's gonna be a real soft yard, and a lot of convicts. If you're a real gritty, grimy ass convict, you're not gonna like it. It just ain't gonna resonate with.
Well, hold on now. You will like it if you almost to the door.
If you almost to the door, you gonna love it. But I
Yeah.
done ran into some dudes be like, man, this is just not for me, and I get it. A lot of them dudes want to, rock and roll the whole bit. It's cool.
Jeff.
Yo.
So I guess you're talking about somebody coming from a level 3 down to a level 2, or level 4 down to a level 3. It's a different beast, and some people condition of doing their time a certain kind of way, and then getting in that transition. Some folks can't ever make that transition of the environment, switching from one environment to another. That's a different.
I would equate it to coming down from something like from probably like a Lancaster to Chino minimum. You know what I'm saying? That's about what it would be like. Because Lancaster shit, you can walk out and fuck, it's over. The rest of the day, motherfucker might not see the yard for another year.
Hey, let me ask you this. Now we all know, state and fed being in there, when you fighting, you go into the law library and you get action, and your appeal or whatever goes through, pretty much the people you fuck with on the yard, they know about your situation. Oh, the homie gave the time back, or the homie about to get out, or blah blah blah. Not on no snitch shit. I mean on some real fighting lawyer going back and forth to court. Now, when that happened to you, when you knew you got accepted and it was going to happen, how did you feel? I mean, how did the people you fuck with on the yard, how did they feel? Because some people think, oh, they hating because he going home. But a lot of times people are happy for you.
Hey, that's an interesting question. I think, bro, honestly, unless you really like practice, and unfortunately, being in them situations, we have to practice going through that experience, watching niggas go home, and it ain't you and shit like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes you develop a technique or something that helps you not be overly overwhelmed by the emotions and shit that might be attached to that shit, to where you be fucked up, you be like, oh shit, wishing bad, talking sour, because a lot of dudes don't know how to address that shit. They just don't. They wasn't like taught. So for me, when I first found out, I knew it was gonna happen, bro. Now, God is my witness. When I got to 22, I knew I wasn't gonna do it all. I prayed about it. I had to take the deal. The morning of trial, I took my deal. I had played with these people for 3 years. They gave me 2 extra years for playing with them.
Oh, yeah, you made somebody mad.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
I went in there. I did the UCC everything. I was in there with all the shit. You told me a fucking if you could go in the courtroom and say this, I'm gonna go try it if I'm going home. Fuck that. And I went in that court. I did the UCC for about a year and a half. I went through about 4 lawyers. All of that shit.
And see, what people don't know, when you fight in the system, you gotta always remember they have endless resources off the bat. When you change it, unless you got deep pockets, because in the federal, you can't go up against the people who make the money. They can do this all day. And at the same time, you making the judge mad. You just frustrating people. And that's when they say, you know what? okay, we got some for you. Your ass gonna end up fucking Terre Haute, Indiana, way on the other side of the map some damn where, fucking around with these people. But out of respect, because I've seen a lot of guys go home and beat their case, give time back, because if you look at something over and over and over continuously, you will find something wrong.
So, like for my
but
case,
before they go, they have already been down 12, 15 years. So you didn't earn the respect. Like, that's the G homie. He didn't been down for years already. So what are we happy to see the homie go home. And a lot of dudes are happy to see you go home because they want what's in your locker anyway. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like for me, I was saying I knew I was gonna get it. I was actually thinking what's taking this nigga Obama so long, man. Shit. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to get to. I done talked to the big homie upstairs. He done granted my shit. What's taking this dude so long? And bro, this is how it played out. I'm at work in the laundry at Safford. You know where the laundry at on that yard. I'm working
way in the back by commissary.
Yeah, by commissary. So I'm working in the laundry. In that window, I stayed in Saguaro. So in that window, I could see my unit. And
I got a question for
him. And I could see my unit from there. But my unit manager come out. He come out, tall white dude. We cool as shit. He come out, and my boss in the laundry, you know, I think he was kind of probably, and he definitely was prejudiced, but he was cool as hell to me. And but if you fucking up, you fired. No questions asked. Don't even worry about it. Get your shit, get out my spot. And this motherfucker, my unit manager walking there, when I see him, I'm like, he coming to tell me, right? He tell my boss I need to talk to the captain. My boss look at me, you fucked up, bro. You fired. You like, for what? I'm like, I just need to talk to him about some personal shit. And boss said, there you go right there. Dude was asking me, you know, to come see me at lunch when you get off or something. I said, you can talk to me now. Stepped out, he told me. He said, you got it. You got clemency, man. You got clemency. I'm shit, fuck. Excited, relieved, to get the confirmation that my fucking faith was strong. And our first nigga I seen, I told, you want to watch for the dude's emotions and shit. And I try not to be like you bragging and rubbing shit in the dude's face. So you want to be kind of, you know, mindful of shit like that. And I told Nub from Nutty Block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, somebody want to ask a question.
All right.
We get somebody on our live viewers to ask a question. Control, what is the question they want to ask?
What kept you motivated not to give up?
The kids, you know, bro. About my second year in, my ex, she sent me the divorce papers.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot.
You know, it was like, this was right after I took the deal too. And it was like, you know, it was crushing because at one point you like, you know, you go kick me while I'm down. But at the same time, I had just did a short bid, like 2 years in the state. I was out a year between I got released from the state and ended up in the feds. That 2 years, it was the worst fucking time I ever did in my life. I would never want to do time with a bride again. So yeah. Hey, it was a relief when I didn't know it at the time, but it was a relief when she left. It allowed me the space to work on myself, to do some honest, like really introspective, like change with myself, work on some of the bad habits, some behavioral shit, and try to maintain a relationship with my kids, because that was my motivation. I had a daughter that was born a month after I went in. We still struggling to connect. And I've been on 3 years now.
Wow. So let me say this. You know the deal. That's what happens, man. I'm smiling. They say the same thing can make you smile and make you cry. During time, and you got a man or got a old lady that that'll stress you out, and, because you no longer can do the things you once done when you was on the street to keep to keep everything straight. So anybody that done time with a woman, they know to know. You know what I mean? And you're right. Sometimes it's best to just ride solo, but at the same time, it's good to have somebody that you love there for you as well. So that's one of them situations. But I want to ask this: they got the listeners on Apple Podcasts and iHeart and TuneIn Radio and Amazon, etc., and SoundCloud, Spotify, and others. They don't see you, but they hear you. And so something we didn't already jump into, which was the commuted sentence, was submitted. You normally when they do a pardon or a pardon or commuted sentence, it's a document that's sent to the pardon attorney. They send a document to the reduction of sentence, and it's a request. You put a request in for a commuted sentence or a pardon. That's a document that's been sent up to the office or division where the paperwork goes to them, and then they make the decision of passing it on to who it need to be passed on, which is the president or one of the cabinet members, etc., etc. I only brought that up because we didn't further elaborate about how that whole little process works. So you can have most people have attorney, some people don't have attorney. In this case, with the Obama cabinet created some program, etc., to for commuting sentences and pardons, which was great. That normally never happens. Normally happens for other times and other cases with other prisoners, but in this case, I'm glad it worked for you. I'm appreciative of it did. I love you, bro, like a brother, and I'm just grateful that you did make it out of that situation. Another thing I wanted to get to was a lot of people talk a lot of talk about this and that, about them being on the yard, and they was this kind of dude, they was on some gangster shit, etc., etc. I want to ask you this. Did you, by being on that yard, it don't have to be just this time, any other time, have you ever, same thing with you, Junior, have you ever came to a time where you was like, damn, I'm in this shit every day, sun up, sun down, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of packing a knife. I'm tired of being in the somebody else shit. You feel me? Or you got to jump in and help somebody in situation. And every time you came in your time, y'all just say, man, I got this shit. I'm gonna go out and play right, do the right thing.
See, it's so funny. Just so you know, bro, like when you hit the Fed yard, the structure there is totally different. So
Yes.
even though you got the individual like sets and cities and all that shit, and they go click up like that, it's just one big car. So you got the Crip car, you got the Blood car. That's what it is in the down south, Midwest, and then the East Coast niggas. But that's how I rock. Then you go ahead to DMV, they go rock with their own shit. So you got these little cliques, and so it's a little different. You gotta be on, and you go get on account. So once you go get on account, you're on account, and you gotta answer to some niggas that ain't even from your neighborhood. And a lot of these niggas be bozos. They just be fucked. They getting into shit that, and you can't even do nothing about it because guess what? Now niggas is throwing up barriers talking about, oh, you can't touch my homie. Anybody want to touch my homie? We going at it and all of this shit. You got all of this. It's so much. You like, fuck. It's just a fucked up ass structure. But it's good at the same time. You get tired of that shit. You get tired.
Yes,
You get
yes, you
tired.
do.
You get tired. You got to go out there, bro. It was at one point where when I first got to Victorville in 2008, that joker went out to 2. It was only 200 blacks.
Woo!
Yeah, and we was the cause of it. And when the dude who they was protecting, they didn't want to get rid of him. All they had to do was get rid of him. He was wrong. He didn't want to get down with the motherfuckers who he was getting into it with. So when you get shit like that, bro, it gets so frustrating and taxing on you as an individual. I can see why a lot of dudes suffer from mental illness and shit.
Yeah, and see, to add to his point, that only happens when you local. Local meaning TI, anything in California or close on the west. TI, Victorville, Lompoc. But when they send your ass further east, when you got to deal with the East Coast cats, everybody from California, no matter where you from or what you are, they are sticking together because it really happens on the East. They don't like nothing over here, and I'm sure he know about that part too.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
so the bottom line of this, California State Prison System, CDCR, is a total different kind of beast than the federal government. I got that. They doing more banging in the states. Real, it's hectic. It's a different beast. So I got it. Let me ask you this. So what are you doing now? How's your life today?
Shit, I work in mental health. I fuck with this mental health. So I go through all of that. One of the requirements of me fucking like going through getting the clemency was I had to go through RDAP. So I went through the RDAP thing. I went through it reluctant. Didn't want to do it. But surprisingly, I learned a lot while I was in there. I dealt with a lot. It allowed me to like really explore some of the shit that I've been burying my whole life, a lot of the trauma. And that allowed me to heal a little bit enough to where I can move forward from some of the behavior that had got me to prison. So I got to the halfway house. One thing I did different than I did previous times, every available resource they had to offer, I used it. Even if I wasn't going in that direction as far as like employment and all of that, I'm gonna go do it. I chose to get a truck driver's license because they was paying for it, as opposed to going to like a 9-month course of plumbing and all of that other stuff that they was gonna pay for as well. But I chose a truck because it's only 6 weeks. So I still got my Class A's that I ain't really never used. I got my RSO card if I want to go. They pay for that. If I want to go to the oil refineries, I got Serve Safe. They pay for my certifications for that. So all of these resources they had available at the halfway house, I took advantage of them.
As you should.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I took advantage of them. And coincidentally, while I was in the halfway house, I ended up meeting this chick, a Jewish lady. She was fantastic, bro. She was coming home from being real estate fraud, and she was on the verge of getting her doctorate in psychology. So she got out. She started pursuing. We kicked it tough because I had a car. She didn't. She got a nice family. Stayed in Brentwood. I used to go over there, eat dinner with them, all that shit. And I used to pick her up, take her wherever she had to go throughout the day. I worked at my sister's store selling furniture. And it gradually built. She suggested that I go down this path for mental health because this was the shit she was on. And we was just kicking it tough. We supporting one another. And it don't pay great, but the reward I get from like helping people, bro, it's like priceless. So I enjoy that part. That's what make me get up in the morning to do it. I meet some cool people. Got to work in a great atmosphere at my job. They've been extremely supportive because, like, so I went from Fomby know about that. I was driving Uber for a minute and coming straight home. And dudes, they can They think you can't even drive Uber when you get home. You can drive Uber, bro, long you ain't got no rapes and child molestations and no bad driving history. If you can prove you had your license for a year, you can drive for Uber or Lyft. You know, they're going to do a background check and all of that. And I was making down there $6,000 a month driving Uber. I told my PO that. She was like, the fuck? You making that kind of money driving? So, yeah, I mean, I was doing good. And I took a pay cut to go do this shit just from Uber. Imagine that.
Well, see, in the field you in now, people don't look at mental health because let me tell you something. When you fighting a life sentence or had a life sentence like Fomby and all those years, there's nothing else that's going to get you through something like that than your mentality. We don't care how swole you are, how many people you can knock out. If your mind ain't right, you going to go into stuff and then now you start going to pill call. Now you start taking these, doing drugs and stuff like that. So when your mind is right, you are the perfect candidate to show somebody about mental health and people who've been in a situation like myself, Fomby and you. But you got, I mean, having a life sentence and doing the time you did, there's nothing that can supersede the mental strength that you had to do that. And like Fomby said earlier, waking up every day knowing somebody gonna get stabbed, knowing there's a riot gonna jump off, knowing you gotta go calm some shit down and you ain't got nothing to do with it, but you have to be mentally strong to go through something like that. You just have to, or you gonna crack and break.
Bro, you said cops and shit. Do you know I had to stand? It got one point I had to stand in front of niggas and ask them, what is we doing? Only y'all, we having a meet. Because niggas wanted to, we took off on them. They in turn took back on us. Niggas want to take off and get, bro, listen, we gonna be going forever. This is gonna be perpetual bullshit, man. What are we doing here? Niggas trying to go home or what? Or we trying to be in jail for the rest of our life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have a shift in your mindset in order to start making up out of some of these situations. And if you're not willing to change, man, I mean, fuck. You know what the end result is.
Yeah.
And see too, when you have a bid and you've been doing your joke as long as you have when you was sitting in there and Fomby and us, we already got it out of our system because we already mad we in there anyway. You know what I'm saying? They gave us X amount of years. You can't tell me nothing. But after you done been down for years and years and years, you got a program you run. And then when you see somebody new come in, you already can tell by his character, his mannerism, you're going to be the reason that something get fucked up on his yard. So let me pull you to the side and let you know how we program. Never mind how you did it, where you was, or you fresh off the street. This is how we do it here. Because believe it or not, the COs know who to go talk to and say, look, we not trying to lock down. We going to let y'all do your thing. But this guy here is going to cause a problem, especially if you got the weight pile going on. Nobody want to see that shut down.
No.
That's funny you say that.
You have a rep from each race stand in front of that motherfucker.
That is very true, yeah. And the CEO is going to let y'all do y'all thing. Look, we going to talk it out. We going to squash it or whatever, you know, because we got a program here. People, see, being out of state, like you was and I was in Arizona, you got people who travel from California to come see you. And there's nothing more heartbreaking to get to the front, oh, they on lockdown.
Woo.
That's heartbreak. You sitting at your bunk knowing your female, your kids are coming, and you got your dread, you got, you know, you ironed up, got your hair cut, and we got some fucking idiot over here who did something and locked us down. My folks is on their way up here now. You hot. That just builds up the attitude. I'm gonna go take care of this fool myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's calm it down a little bit. So yeah, that's the ins and outs of being on the yonder and on the line. So listen to what y'all was saying, reflecting back on my term, and I say this. I'm grateful to hear that you took the opportunity, Jeff, to utilize the tools that was put out for you to venture off and do something different that you ain't never done before. You learn something, you utilize what you learn, you're making money from it, and at the same time, you ain't looking over your shoulder for the canine, for the police to come get you for nothing. So, that's a great change. And for all the viewers and listeners on our podcast, on our audio version, we letting you know that the federal government have programs and they are being used by the people who come home. And this is a prime example of Mr. Jeff, what he has done with the tools that was put out for him. And he has changed his life tremendously. And he's an asset to the community and the people around him that he knows. Yeah, I got you. Who dropped off? Okay, so we just want to end the show on that note. We want to be grateful to the people.
So, with that being said, people got to utilize what's in front of them. It might not seem what you were doing in the early stages, you was a baller or whatever the case may be, but this is how you're going to have to restructure your life now. So the viewers and listeners out there, thank you guys for tuning in with us. And as you can see, some of us that get out do utilize what's put in front of us. He's a prime example of using the tools that was given to him to, change his life or go a different route. Some people just want to go back to where they was, but hey, more power to you. But once again, JC, thank you for hanging out, telling us your story, man. That was a very important story you had told about getting what you have gotten from Obama, man. That was a big deal.
Yes, Mr. Jeff, before we leave, we want to be grateful that the President Obama did commute you.
Yes.
And you're an asset to our community and the people that you know that you're surrounded by. And let the people know if they're watching, the viewers and the listeners, where can they contact you at? And they wanted to contact you to hear the rest of your story at another later date or be a part of what you got going on.
Yeah, the email address is Jeffrey Calhoun, JEFFREYCALHOUN 70@gmail.com.
Okay, anything you want to say before we end the show?
Yeah. So I just want to just help everybody. Well, bring everybody awareness up. Like when you get a president, whether whoever's in office, I just had one of the dudes I was at Victorville with, Nation of Islam dude. He had somebody who knew the lawyer, partner attorney for that Trump had. So they were working through one lawyer to work with Trump lawyer to get some of these guys who just been sitting in these federal prisons all of these years up out of jail, if they've been doing well for so many years. So a lot of times, bro, we got to use whatever resources is available to them, even if they look ugly as fuck, It might not be the ideal situation. That don't mean it ain't something that might not work. It can work if you just try. Don't give up just because the face don't look like the face you want to see. If it's an orange motherfucker, he's just an orange motherfucker. It's cool. Let's use him for whatever he's worth to get to where we trying to go. And that's the mindset we got to have coming from where we at right now as a people, bro. We got to grab this momentum and rise up because in a minute it's going to be too late. We got a lot of soldiers who been fucking like locked down and took away from us and shit like that. And we don't understand our power, the power that we got. Listen, bro, you got, and he can attest to this, he was in fucking Arizona. You got Native fucking Americans that's Bloods and Crips. Imagine that.
And the cold part about it, they're the only ones on the yard that's allowed with a bandana. So if we want to get the bandana, we got to go holler at them and get a bandana from them because they won't let us have it, but they can have the bandana.
Yeah, so that's how far our influence goes, bro. We done already went across the country with this shit and influenced people that look just like us, but we influencing other races. Just take hip-hop, for instance, too. Hip-hop in general is the biggest music in America right now. Past rock and roll. So understanding who we are and the power that we wield is the key to us moving forward and not sabotaging our success no longer, because that's what we've been doing. Can't blame nobody else no more. We got to take accountability where it needs to be taken at and start moving forward and not making the same mistakes no more.
Amen to that, brother.
So we're gonna say this. We're gonna end the show. I want all the viewers and the listeners, all our listeners that's on Pandora, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeart, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Audible. We're grateful for y'all listeners. We're grateful for your viewers. I'm glad you stopped by, Mr. Jeff, and hung out with us. We're gonna do it
Thank
again. Out of the shield, baby, to the next time.
No doubt, bro. Appreciate it.
Every day on the line. Every day on the line. Every day digital soapbox. Every day on the line. I remember every day on the line. Every day.